بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. وقال أيضا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. وقال أيضا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ونعوذ بالله سبحانه وتعالى من النار. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, glorifying He Azza wa Jal, sending salam upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I advise myself first and foremost, as I advise each and every one of you, as Allah Azza wa Jal revealed to us in the Quran in multiple places, addressing both mankind as a whole and addressing the believers in specific, when He says to fear Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have taqwa in Allah Azza wa Jal, the one who created you, the one who sustains you, the one whom you will return to Azza wa Jal. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be conscious of Him in every single thing that you do. And know that each and every single one of us will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will be held accountable for what we have done. Ayyuha al-ikhwatu al-kiram, as to what follows today, I want to share with you a story which I heard earlier this week from one of our beloved teachers and imams who had the opportunity to visit the country of Morocco shortly after the disaster and the earthquake occurred. It was shared with us a story of an individual, one of our brothers in Morocco, whom he had traveled to the village in which his sister had resided. And he had gone to visit his sister upon the birth of his niece. His sister had just given birth, and he went to visit his sister upon the birth of his niece. And he stepped out of the home that they lived in, the family lived in. He stepped out of his sister's home, and he went to purchase a gift. He went to purchase a gift upon the birth of his niece. And shortly after he had left the home, the earthquake struck. And when he returned back to his home, the home of his sister, he not only saw the home in destruction, but he came back to find out that all of his loved ones, his sister, his newborn niece, and the rest of the family and loved ones that he had all passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on them. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make them from the martyrs. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reunite the families in Jannah. That story is one of thousands of stories just like it, where individuals woke up one day and did not know that their lives were going to be changed for the rest of what they know to be their lives. Their lives as they know it or knew it were about to be changed, and they had no idea. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is in control of everything. And as believers and as Muslims, we don't question the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when incidents like this occur, when disasters and trials and tribulations occur, whether in our lives or in the lives of others, many thoughts, many emotions, many questions sometimes come to light. And so as believers, it is important for us to remember what Allah Azza wa Jal told us in the Quran when He said, first and foremost, that we were created to worship Him. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And as a part of worshiping Allah is the fact that we will be tested to see who will get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who will worship Allah through the tests, who will withstand the tests, who will withstand the trials and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through them, who will worship Allah throughout the difficulties, and who will ultimately earn a higher rank because of what they did in this world. So there's a purpose and a reason to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala afflicting us with tests and trials and calamities. Among them is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ, and to the end of the ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises to the highest degree possible that He most definitely will be testing us. And the types of tests that we will get and trials that we will get are of varying degrees and varying levels and varying types. Among them is the loss of lives and of fear and of the loss of children and wealth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises that definitely you will be tested by those means. You will definitely be tested. Mankind will definitely be tested through those means and through those avenues. And what is the advice that is given? What is the glad tiding that is given at the end of that ayah? وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. And give glad tidings to those who are patient. When the calamity, when the stress, when the anxiety, when the disaster befalls you, you say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You recognize and you verbalize and you have within your heart that everything belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate return of everything and everyone. The one who has given it has the right to take it away. And so when different things occur in our lives, it is important that we attach ourselves first and foremost to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through being patient, recognizing that Allah Azza wa Jal is in control and Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who holds the power to do all things. And the second advice is that which Allah also gives us. He says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. And then attach yourself to prayer. Attach yourself to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how you're going to achieve peace. That's how you're going to be able to overcome these obstacles that are put in your life. Allah subhanahu is testing you to see which of you will be best in deeds and which of you will be best in action. As Allah subhanahu, He says in the beginning of Surah Al-Mulk, that He's created this life and death to see which of you will be best in deeds. Ahsana amala. Who's going to have the best actions? So especially in these times of disaster and of calamity, whether in your personal life or in the lives of others, it's important that you hold fast to this and remember this. Among the benefits that we want to remind ourselves today in this short khutbah, among the benefits of these calamities and disasters taking place is, as we mentioned, it leads each and every one of us to understand and to know and to reaffirm within ourselves that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control. whatever power, whatever degree, whatever capability we as human beings have, all it takes is one thing to occur in our lives that we cannot control, that we can't see a way out of, for us to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in our control. We are in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's control. All it takes is one thing to occur for us to realize that we are helpless. Think about any natural disaster, any rainstorm, anything that occurs. How can you stop it? If Allah decrees for something to happen, if the rain is falling and the thunder is going and the lightning is flashing and the place begins to flood, what can you do to stop it? And all it takes is one small disaster to put all of those things into perspective. That you and I can do nothing except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows for us to do. So that's the first benefit. Disasters drive us to reattach ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's in control. The second thing, whenever a calamity is about to befall you, what is the first thing people say? Whenever you're in a plane and the turbulence is very high and the plane begins to shake and people start to get a little scared, if you've ever been in that situation, may Allah protect us. Immediately people become silent. Immediately people start praying. Immediately people start calling out to God. Calamities and disasters drive people to call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For the believers, it's great. It's amazing that when something bad happens to you, you call out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But do not only deal with Allah selectively. The fact that you're calling out to Allah in a state of difficulty is amazing. But also worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you're in ease. Give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He blesses you. When you're in a state of comfort, don't leave off praying to and glorifying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not worship Allah selectively, only when you need Him. Rather, when you're in comfort and when you think, when a'udhu billah, that you don't need Him, that you don't need to raise your hands and ask for something, when a'udhu billah, raise your hands and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Raise your hands and seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all conditions. The third point that we want to make mention of, whenever a disaster or calamity strikes, you learn the true value of what you had before. Until one of your limbs is deficient, until your thumb gets smashed in your car door and it's swollen and you can't move it, do you realize how much you use your thumb on a daily basis? Until you have pain in one part of your body, only then do you realize how much it affects you. When you're walking down the road and you accidentally roll your ankle and you're limping for 2 weeks, only then do you realize that you took so much for granted when it came to your mobility, when it came to you walking, when it came to you having whatever. So when these disasters strike, when calamity befalls you, don't let that be the only time that you recognize the favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't let that be the only time where you say to yourself, I wish I was grateful for what I had before. Rather, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abundantly. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says in the Quran, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ, that very few from my servants, from my worshippers are thankful. Be from those few people. Make yourself from the few people who thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abundantly, not only when something happens to them. The trials and tribulations that we are faced with in our daily lives or on a one-off occasion, these trials and tribulations, they drive you to be content. They drive you to be content with what you had before and to be content with a little bit. When something is taken away from you, then you realize how much you actually have. You realize that so much luxuries that you chase after are not really necessary and they don't have meaning. Certain small basic items are enough when the luxuries are stripped away and when you are tested with something of difficulty. The small basic things that you have, you find yourself being content and sufficing with them. So be content outside of those difficulties. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests each and every one of us, in whatever form He tests us, the goal of that is for us to get closer to Allah. The goal of being tested is not that you turn away from Allah. Allah is testing you to see who will rise in their ranks, not who Allah wants to push further away from His remembrance. Rather, you are being tested so that you can rise in rank. You can go higher than where you were before, not that you can sink to a lower status. And for each and every one of us here, who, walillahi alhamd, we live in a certain level of comfort. We live in a certain level of comfort. Do not become complacent in that. Don't think that that's a their problem, a them problem. It can never happen to me. The country of Morocco has not had an earthquake the scale of what they recently had since 1960. This morning I looked at the amount of earthquakes that they've had, and the list that they had of relatively strong earthquakes is numerable. It's not that many. The list fits on one page. Number of earthquakes that they have. And an earthquake of this strength that we've seen in the past week has not occurred since 1960. Don't think that your situation can't change. Don't think that you're untouchable in any sense of the word. Know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can choose to test you in any way He sees fit. But when others are being tested, when our brothers and sisters across the world are in a state of difficulty, what are we supposed to do? One, we're supposed to take a lesson from that. Understand that what's going on over there, the same way Allah mentions things in the Quran of the past for us to benefit from, it's the same way. Look at what's going on around you and benefit yourself from it. Change your life. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of what's going on over there. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you see what's going on to your brothers and your sisters. Seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you see how He's tested other people. Get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before the trial and the tribulation comes to you. Don't wait for that to occur and say that when something happens to me, I'll make sure that I pray to Allah, I make dua to Allah. Attach yourself to Him when you see what's going on around you. And also when these disasters and trials and tribulations are going on with our brothers and sisters wherever they may be, it's also an opportunity that we have. It's an opportunity to see how you will react. Will you take advantage of the spiritual benefits of getting closer to Allah? Will you take advantage of the benefits of earning hasanat by giving in that cause? Or will you say that that's a problem for another country? That's a problem that's going on the other side of the world. That's a problem that other people will have to deal with. And you maintain this bubble that you live in the United States of America or wherever you may be. You maintain that bubble that you may be living in New York, in the United States, and not think about what's going on in other places. Not concern yourself with what's happening overseas. Rather, these are your brothers and your sisters. Rather, this is the Muslim ummah that is in a state of struggle. And how can you watch your brothers and your sisters struggle? And how can you watch your brothers and your sisters be in a state of difficulty and you can do something about it and you don't do anything? Whether what you do is to raise your hands in dua or to give $1 that you may have in your pocket, anything in between, whatever you can do, it is upon you to do it for your brothers and your sisters. The Muslim Ummah, as the Prophet ﷺ, he said, is like one body. And if one part of the body is in pain and one part of the body is struggling, then the same way that you cannot sleep at night when you have that migraine, the same way we should not be able to rest easy when our brothers and our sisters are sleeping on the street because the buildings are no longer safe for them to be inside. Our brothers and sisters are distraught because their children are being pulled from the rubble. Our brothers and sisters are spending the nights just waiting for daybreak so that they can begin to search and see if any of their family is still alive. Or if they can search and see if they can find any part of their family member that they can just bury their family member. This is their situation. This is their struggle. This is the way that they're living right now. We're not living in that exact same situation. But we have an ability and an opportunity to raise our hands and to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them. We have an ability to give something so that they can have somewhere to sleep, so that they can have something to feed themselves with, so that they can try to rebuild their lives. Do what you can, and we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them ease, and we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us ease as well. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to take lessons from these situations, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring us closer to Him. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده. ولله الحمد, this masjid has partnered with Islamic Relief USA, one of the leading humanitarian organizations, to facilitate the collection of funds for both Libya as well as Morocco. In the country of Libya, over 11,000 people have already passed away. Over 30,000 of our brothers and our sisters in Libya are without housing, and because of the extent of the damages that have occurred, it has already been ruled that over 30,000 of them have nowhere to return to. They have no housing to return to. More and more individuals are being pronounced dead every single day. Over 2,900 people, almost 3,000 people have already passed away in Morocco. Over 100,000 people being affected in various cities. These are our brothers and our sisters. We have an opportunity to give from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with, whatever you can. Inshallah, there's a table set up outside, and the proceeds from the food sale as well is going to go towards that cause. This cause is zakah eligible. So whatever you can give to your brothers and sisters in Libya as well as Morocco, please give what you can and support inshaAllah ta'ala. If anyone has any questions regarding the cause, regarding how the work is being done, regarding how the aid is being distributed, alhamdulillah, I'm one of the staff members at Islamic Relief, and I'll be happy to answer anyone's questions that they have regarding that. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to open our hearts and to give what we can. And if we can't give, to make dua from the most sincere part of ourselves, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to alleviate their suffering. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal their sick and their injured. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept their dead as martyrs. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reunite those who have departed and their families in Jannatul Firdaus. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us and them the best in the dunya and the best in the akhirah. We ask that their suffering and their trial and their tribulation is a means of them getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and a means of their expiation of their sins. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to aid them with His aid and His assistance. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reunite us all in Jannatul Firdaus. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبدك ورسولك ونبينا محمد. وأرضى الله من خلفائه الأربعة أبا بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن سائر الصحابة والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم انصر إخواننا المسلمين في كل مكان يا رب العالمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وقوموا إلى صلاتكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استووا اعتدلوا سووا صفوفكم. Make sure the lines are straight. Fill in the gaps. Make sure your cell phones are turned off. استووا. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الله سمع الله لمن حمده كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. الله الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله
Assalamu alaikum. May Allah reward our brother Saeed for his khutbah. We are selling fried rice with chicken and burger and french fries. It's $10 per box. So with everything going to the Morocco and Libya for the earthquake and the flood. So on your way out, please get a box. The Saturday Silver program is back. It will start next weekend on 23rd. And it's for boys and girls from age 5 to 12. And there will be Quran, Islamic studies, and Arabic studies. So please, to sign up, please go to masjidisa.org/programs. We have a AFCAD program coming up on November 4th and 5th here in NYCMC. And the topic is what's love got to do with it? It's fake romance and marriage. So we will have Sheikh Shakil, Sheikh Zakaria, Dr. Susie, Sheikh Imam Nuh, and Dr. Kareem will be there. It will be on November 4th and 5th from 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. We'll have free breakfast, free lunch, there'll be books, and we'll be weekend bazaar. There's a support program for the parents, so this is an uplift program coming up. It's all on September 23rd. It is a Zoom online program. To register, please go to nycmuslimcenter.org/sg. Wellspring offers virtual programs. So the students who couldn't get to the physical class, it is a great opportunity for them to enroll in a virtual class. To enroll students, please go to thewellspringschools.org/virtual. Salah time for tomorrow, starting tomorrow, Fajr will be at 5:45, Dhuhr 1:15, Asr will be at 4:30, Maghrib 5 minutes after Adhan, Isha 5 minutes after Adhan. We're almost done with the construction, so please continue make your donations. To make donations, please go to nymuslimcenter.org/expension. Assalamu alaikum.